Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. Today, I'm going to be rambling on about something pretty cool, something pretty great, the new 80th anniversary Thomas and Friends Classic Collection. That is what I'm going to call these guys because on all of their packaging they were listed as classic. I believe the die casts are not going to be saying that, but all four of these motorized engines did. So that's what I'm going to stick with. I've heard some people try to call it Trackmaster Free, even though Trackmaster as a name has been retired for years. And then other people are trying to call it Trackmaster 4 because some people like to call the All Engines Go stuff Trackmaster Free. So I'm just sticking with Classic Collection. Something I'm very excited to see the original Thomas back, or at least the CGI interpretation of Thomas and all the various characters. And it's a line I don't know if I'm going to really go all in on, because just money, space, and another thing, which we will get to at the end of this video. But for the sake of the 80th anniversary, for hype of my first interest in pop culture, I do want to get all the characters in the first wave, and for now I found these four, and I'll get Percy, Nia, and Duck whenever I can find them. So first off, the packaging. Since Thomas is still in his box, it's basically the same type of packaging they've been using at Mattel, with the blue stuff, and it's got some added rivet detailings to match more with CGI Thomas, and it's got the stock art they've been using basically since the beginning of CG Thomas. No cross cells on the back, which is interesting. I know the 2-pack versions of these trains have cross cells. I haven't seen any of the 2-packs, but I've watched a couple videos on them. I like these creative barcodes of the one on the bottom that has Thomas going uphill, and the one here where it's used as like a piece of rolling stock, like the load that he's driving. And we're going to put Thomas to the side for a bit because I want to talk about him last. So we'll talk about the free tender engines, and we'll start with the guy that everybody has decided to be the weakest of this range, Gordon. And I do think he's the weakest of these four engines I have, but I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's the atrocity everybody says. His buffer beam being squished in like this on his face is pretty upsetting, especially because he's the only character that does this. I don't get that at all. And he is a bit puffy. They're all a bit puffy, but like, just because that's not how they look in the show, I don't think this looks bad. And as you can see, his coal load fell out. Apparently these tenders for Gordon and James are reused from the All Engines Go versions. Okay, whatever. I'm not familiar much with the All Engines Go motorized line because I didn't want to buy any of it, but you know, I do kind of wish this wasn't a thing. I don't know if there's like some kind of coal hopper toy Mattel made that these interact with, where it like drops these in to either tenders or coal trucks, but personally I would have rather not have it, but I'm not too annoyed by it. As for the detailing overall, I do think he looks pretty good. He does have his front pony wheel in there. It's behind all his extra cylinders, but it is in there. I do wish they had made it more visible, maybe brought it down so we could see the faux wheel for a bit, because I do look at him and how much he is floating here away from his wheels, and I do think that's really weird. And then he has his rear pony molded in here, and that's pretty good. That's usually how it is with these motorized trains. It's just a fake wheel molded in, raised from the track, but I don't think it looks bad at all. And we have the return of side rods on our motorized engines, and that does look really nice to see it moving around. And yeah, the detailing here, he's got all the stripes. He's got his side rods, which are molded in. So there's no molding. Maybe there feels like there might be a little bit of molding for the stripes, but I don't think it is. I think the stripes are just printed on the base boiler. Either that or the molding is like really, really small, like a micrometer from the boiler. But the side the handle rods are definitely 3D element molded in. It's pretty nice. The other side exactly the same. He's got his yellow lining around his windows. He's got some of those rivets from the latter seasons of CGI. He's got his number 4 on his tender like he would. Oh, and another thing that's pretty disliked with these Mattel engines that I'm pretty sure started with All Engines Go and has continued over is the long rear couplings. And I'm actually going to say I don't hate it too much, but I do agree that it's a problem. I do think that maybe this could result in them being more fragile and possibly breaking easier. I'm not quite sure. But you know who else knows that that's a problem? Mattel. Because look at how Thomas is packaged here, bringing him in again. Look at how close together him and this truck are. And then look at the actual coupling back there, folded away. Like, they cannot couple this close to each other. James and Gordon were packaged in a very similar way. The Scotsman, he actually had a good amount of space, so you could tell what the real gap between him and his tenders was going to be. But the other 3 basically lie to you and make it look like they fixed the problem. So that is a pretty scummy move. And also, these Mattel redesigned motorized engines are known for not really being able to free roll. Like, as you can see, I push him back and forth and that back wheel stays. If you push down, it will move and you can hear it clicking a bit. So that does make me wonder if it is going to strip the gears to do that, but like, you don't even have to push down that hard, just put a little bit of weight. But if you push down harder, it does seem to be a little more quiet, maybe. Not really. So you can get it to free roll if you want it to, but I don't know, maybe that is destroying the gears. I mean, that's probably well documented at this point. And I just don't know, because I stopped following the motorized range when Mattel redesigned it, because I was never really a collector of it. And I didn't find the majority of the Mattel stuff good to look at, because this is the first time they've ever cared about making this stuff look good. So let's move on to James, the other very controversial one. A lot of people like to point out how big and fat he is, and he is. He's a lot wider than he should be, mainly because these all have to be on the same chassis. And one thing I do want to point out is that James's wheels do not line up with his splashers, whereas Gordon's do, and so do the Scotsman's, and Thomas's don't. So it's annoying. It's more annoying on James than it is on Thomas. Like, you can kind of forget it on Thomas, since he only has like the one splasher up front, but of course we all know that James's wheels go under these 3 things. But because these all have to use the same chassis, they don't line up. So when you're looking at it directly, it gets annoying, but I kind of forget about it most of the time. And again, his coal can come out of his tender, and his tender, same as Gordon's, just in red. It's got the number 5 on it. He's got a little bit of hollow space in his cab, which I appreciate. I would have liked some proper detailing in there, but no whistle, but his lever is kind of in the way of that, so that's fine. He's also got some rivets plastered on him, and his rail on the side does go over the smoke box like it should, but the smoke box part of it is not painted. And he's got a separate dome that is in a goldish color, as it should be. And I do adore his face. Speaking of, I need to bring back Gordon for a second. I actually think it's very weird how they have to have Gordon looking up. It's like he's always looking at you. He's like, oh, are I not a grand engine? Are I not the best engine? Yeah? Stop looking at me, Gordon. James, on the other hand, is looking off to the side a little bit, but he is looking more directly in front of him. I do like this James face a lot. A nice, happy James. He's got his crow's feet dug in there. One of his eyebrows appears to be a little bit higher than the other, so that's a little interesting. He does have that longer running board, which I like, and since these are the free pack versions, they've got white running boards. I believe the 2-pack versions do not. And speaking of free packs, Gordon and James come with pieces of rolling stock. James comes with this tiny little dinky fuel car, or tanker car, whatever this is. I guess since it's white, you could say that maybe it's the milk car, but it doesn't say milk on the side, and there's no face on the front of it, so it's not a troublesome tanker or anything. It's just a tanker. And yeah, Mattel is still doing the dinky rolling stock, which I like for the tenders, because it makes the tenders look sized more correctly with the engines, but I'm not a big fan of it for the stuff they pull. But this is okay. This is my least favorite piece of rolling stock, but I think it was worth getting the free pack over waiting to find a 2-pack James, because I still get a piece of rolling stock and a nice white running board. So I think I made the correct decision getting this James. And for Gordon, we of course get an express coach, and this, I believe, is just another All Engines Go piece recolored. I don't know what this was used for in All Engines Go, because I don't think they ever did an express coach in that line. Maybe they did. I think I've actually seen this before too as some kind of coach, because I definitely remember seeing some All Engines Go styled rolling stock that have these geared wheels like the engines do, and this coach is the only piece of rolling stock here in these 4 engines packs that has the geared wheels. And I was expecting to hate this coach a lot, and I'm not in love with it. I would have preferred like the old Tomy style express coach, where it was longer and looked more like the ones in the show. But I actually kind of like this, but at the same time it makes me wish I had more than one to like pull a proper express, because of how dinky it is. It almost makes me wish this was a 4-pack instead of a free pack. But I like the coach a lot more than I thought I was going to. I can't 100% explain why. It's just something about it feels nice to me. And maybe it's because I never had a green express coach, even though I had so many Thomas toys as a kid. And I'm saying that like I don't have them anymore. I have the majority of them. But my only express coaches were the red ones. And honestly, because I've been so hyped about getting these toys, which is why I'm really glad I found them, I've been rewatching some episodes, specifically of the CGI series mostly, and I was thinking, because there's that one episode about Sydney, and in the end of it, he pulls 2 red coaches. It'd be really cool to get a free pack of Sydney with 2 of this coach done in red. I'm just saying that'd be a really cool set, episode-specific set, if they ever want to bring back, like, greatest moments free packs. Because that's another name I've heard people throw around, calling these the greatest moment free packs, and I'm like, what oh-so-great moment was James pulling a white featureless tanker? And I don't think that is a very iconic moment in the show, or even a real one. But yeah, the coach has no windows. They're completely cut out so you can put your fingers in it, and that's about it. It's just a nice green express coach. I just like it. It's not the greatest thing ever. It's definitely not the best representation of the express coach we've ever had. It appeals to me in a way I thought it wasn't going to. And that's good enough. I enjoy it, which is a good thing because it is my toy, so I'm glad that I enjoy it at least. Now let's take a look at the Scotsman here, the better of the two A1s. And yeah, I don't hate the Gordon the way everyone else has been trashing on him, but Scotsman is a far better version of the Gordon toy, basically. I mean, I know they're different characters, they're different engines, blah, 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 but you know what I mean. He has the extended running board, which makes me more annoyed that Gordon doesn't. He has the same extra pistons and stuff, and he also has the little wheel in there. Again, I wish that was further down, but I love this darker green he uses compared to like the bright green of his wooden railway toy. He's continuing the trend of Flying Scotsman toys having kind of weird looking faces. I don't completely get this expression, but I mean, it has some personality to it. It's definitely better than the one he had on his wooden railway toy, which was actually Henry's face. If you go back to the original book, he's got the same detailing he's got for his side rods, handles. I'm blanking on what to call these. Even these little ones down here are raised a little bit. He's got his nameplate down there. He's got his longer boiler, his longer funnel, his wind vanes, or whatever you call these. There's his number on his cab. Again, nothing here. He can roll and move his side rods, spinning his wheel. And then he, of course, has to come with his two tenders. And these actually are a lot smaller than they should be, both compared to the character in the show and the real-life Scotsman. But, like, from a toy perspective, I don't think this looks bad. At least he has his tenders, unlike, say, a Brio Flying Scotsman toy. Have you ever seen that thing? Ugh. 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 That's ugly. That's ugly. And I still think these are some cool-looking tenders, even if they are out of scale. And let me know if these are the same ones that the Flying Scotsman they did for the Great Race that had the stupid cloud details on him. If these are those molds just dug out of storage. Because I don't own that toy, and I haven't looked at a photo of it in a long time, so I don't know if these are the same molds for his tenders or not. But he's got his front one with all the coal in it, with the LNER logo on it. Or I guess just lettering. I don't know if that's really considered their logo. And then the water one, I guess, with the numbers on it again, so he can have the numbers on his cab and one of his tenders. He's a really fun one. He's also the fastest of these three, it seems. Like, I don't know why. I'm pretty sure these motors are supposed to be designed to all go at the same speed, but Gordon seems to be the slowest. James has been kind of the mid-range one, and Scotsman has been the one that just zooms when I've run these guys. Like, once I had him and Gordon running in the same circle, and he just, bam, caught up to Gordon instantly. They did not get to have fun riding the rails together. He just rammed Gordon off the road rails instantly. That's how much faster he was than Gordon. So, yeah. Scotsman seems to be really fast compared to the other guys, living up to the real deal, since he is one of the few steam locomotives to go over 100 miles an hour. Now, anyway, we gotta talk about the boy. We gotta talk about the boy himself. We gotta talk about Thomas. And something else I want to point out with the packaging is how you could really reuse it if you want. I'm probably not going to. I'm probably going to shove it all in the recycling bin. What am I saying? I'm probably going to get rid of it all because I don't want to keep around more cardboard. I don't really like keeping around the cardboard of toys anyway, but as you just saw me pull this whole thing out, you can easily put it back in. And you are going to have to tear part of the backing a little bit to get these toys out, but you could definitely shove them back behind their bubbles and put them back inside the main cardboard and use them as storage if you want. But I think I'm just going to get rid of them. So we now got to talk about the boy Thomas himself. But actually, let's first take a look at these troublesome trucks. They are very small. They seem to be using the exact same chassis as the tenders do. Yeah, they seem to be the exact same. And are they the same truck completely? They got the same face. This one has a little nick on its nose. Yeah, and the exact same rust detailing. So the only difference is that one of them comes with these sort of chocolatey brown crates, and then this has more of a caramely brown, I guess is what we could call this. They have these pegs on the bottom. I don't know what those would be for. Maybe interacting with one of the various cranky sets that have been created by Mattel. But yeah, very dinky, troublesome trucks. But like these, again, I'd rather have the larger trucks that motorized Thomas trains used to come with. But like, I don't hate these. They don't look as weird as this and this being shrunken down too. Especially this. Like, the trucks don't annoy me as much. Probably just because they have all this awesome detailing. They even have these sculpted wooden planks down here. I like these trucks. They're pretty neat. Thomas himself? Ooh, this is just Thomas. This is really just Thomas. He does have that rivet detailing I hate, and his lever is far, far, far more noticeable because I believe, yes, he is a little bit smaller than the tender engines. Just a smidge a bit. Here we go. Pointing at the camera, right? Like a quarter of an inch smaller. So more of the lever is visible, but this is a very well proportioned Thomas. He's got that very nice face, got that very cheeky Thomas feel. He's also looking up at you like Gordon. He's like, huh? Stop looking at me, Thomas. He's got that beautiful, beautiful white running board. He's got some indentations for his door and that little gap between his tank and his splasher. And his wheels don't line up perfectly to him, like in the show, like James, but that's just going to be a given. I like the sculpting for the coal in his bunker, how high up it is all the way to his roof. There's something pretty nice about that. Most Thomas toys just leave the coal bunker completely flat. So I do enjoy that detailing. His whistle is not painted, but it's there. He's got his tanks. He's got his dome. Very nice sculpted Thomas, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but the scuffing that like every Thomas in this collection so far has, except for the talking one. I don't like the talking gimmick, but I think I'm going to wind up getting the talking Thomas just for Annie and Clarabelle. Oh, I just noticed mine does not have that well painted of eyes either. He's got a chunk missing there. Eee. Oh well. I'm gonna wind up with more Thomases anyway. That's like every Thomas collection. You're gonna have redundant versions of the Blue Boy himself. There's his lamp in the back, since I haven't mentioned that yet. He's the only one of these who's got windows in the front of his cab, because he's got the actual space to add that. And yeah, I do think this is a good Thomas sculpt overall. The wheels not being lined up perfectly is a bit of a shame, but yeah, I still think he's a pretty good Thomas. Let's get him rolling and clicking. Yeah, pretty good. I'm enjoying all four of these engines. The only real problem is the long coupling that needs to be fixed. And the free rolling would be nice. The not having to have these engines click and clack when I'm moving them without the batteries. That would be a nice fix. I think if I could only have one thing fixed, it would be the rear couplings. But yeah. So overall, I'm really liking these engines. I think they're pretty good overall. I like the sculpts. They're all pretty great. Thomas is clearly the best of them, even with the paint scuffs on mine. That's obviously just a thing on mine, but he's clearly the best sculpt. He looks the most like the character, but I think Scotsman is great. Like, I don't really think there's anything wrong with him. And James and Gordon aren't that bad either. But, like, I can get if you might want to save some money and get, like, the single-carded, not the single, the 2-pack versions where it's just the engine and the tender without the rolling stock. But I like having the rolling stock. And I think if you like James and Gordon, they're worth it. And I was actually happy to get these free first, plus Scotsman, because these free were my first Thomas toys ever in my Wooden Railway line. My first one was Thomas, and then I got James and Gordon on the same day, not too long after him. So to have these free again, and I have a Wooden Railway Scotsman in the same giant tub all my Wooden Railway toys are in. So it's nice to have new iterations of these 4 lovely guys, and obviously Thomas is number 1, as he should be. And I kind of just glazed over the scuffing, didn't I? I mean, I mentioned how almost all of them have it, but one thing I've got to still mention pretty quick, also, the lining on this splasher on mine is a little off-center. It's a bit more correct on this side. I think this is meant to be an homage to Lost Treasure, like the way he looked like in that, but it's a lot more blue than gray, and obviously we can still see his 1, and he's a lot more happy than he should be. It's weird. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I think it's meant to be a Lost Treasure homage, though. Alright. This video's gone on pretty long, done quite a bit of rambling, but we're not done yet, because there is one more thing we need to show with these engines.
We can't end this video without a little bit of a running session for these beautiful trains. After all, that's the whole point of the motorized range, is watch them move around on the tracks all by themselves. Yes, I did, in prep of getting these, buy some of the infamous Mattel-styled track. I bought both a starter set as well as a figure 8 set so I could get Best Boy Bruno there at the back of Gordon's goods train. And also I just wanted enough track to have 2 loops so I could run at least 2 or 3 engines at the same time, even though I'm currently only running 2 of them. And yeah, and sadly, I do have to kind of keep Bruno on the outer loop like that, at least if I want him at the end of a proper train, like he is right now, because I guess the weight or the length of being longer than 3 cars somehow always causes derailment on those higher slopes I have for the inner loop, which is funny, because I remember when Mattel did their rebranding to their original track instead of using the old Trackmaster track style, was how stronger and faster and just all around better it was, because they were able to climb higher hills and stick to the track more. And it's like, well, if I want to have a big, good-looking train, apparently they can't climb those hills. So that's a little unfortunate. And also, the way the track connects, I don't like it. It's supposed to keep it together when you grab it, which I don't know if that's that much of an appeal, because those little girders and stuff that, like, raise the bridges, those still come out a bunch if you try to move it. I don't know why you would even want to lift up your whole track unless you're taking it apart to put it away anyway. But, like, the connectors connect in a way that is just putting stress on the plastic, which means you're actively breaking the track every time you use it, which, even though I don't have experience with the old original Trackmaster track, or much experience with Playrail track, I just know from looking at it that slotting it in like that is not going to ruin the plastic, so I would argue that's definitely a downgrade, and I don't want to spend too long complaining about this track system because it's been around for like, what, over a decade now, and I think everybody knows the flaws with it. But yeah, I definitely wish Mattel would change their track system. Also, one other thing I do have to point out, you probably noticed that my curves, this is like the last big ramble here, you can see how the curves on the sets I bought, and seemingly every set Mattel has made since the All Engines Go rebranding, I think, has like these weird curves where I think they're tighter than they used to be, like, in terms of like the full 180, but you'll notice they're all like a third of the turn, like as opposed to other track systems where they're like 4 pieces for a 180 curve, which just limits like the shapes you can make. Like, as weird as it might sound to when you're just hearing it, but from a creative perspective, being limited like that, like not being able to make shapes like squares or rectangles, only these like weird kind of rhombuses and diamonds and trapezoid shapes, severely limits what you can do creativity-wise, which is supposed to be a selling point of a toy train system. And also, it's gonna make this stuff take up more space, just creating an awkward line like what you see here with the like curve going into the straight. It's just gonna like take up too much space. I'm sure most people already know all the problems with this track since it's been around forever now, and it's basically the only track you can get if you don't import Playrail stuff. But it's something I noticed, and it used to not be like that with the turns, because I looked up like the old Trackmaster 2 original stuff, and that stuff did the turns right, so it's kind of an annoying downgrade. But I don't want to spend too much time rambling on about the track, just because it's like, I'm sure most of the Thomas community, Thomas buyers, know this. It's just, I hadn't heard about it, and I was kind of shocked to see it. So I'm not a big fan of the track. I really want the track to change. But I'm pretty pleased with these trains, though. They're nice sculpts. They need shorter couplers, and I would like the return of free rolling. It's really the only problems here. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the 4 engines I've got. I also am happy to have Best Boy Bruno. Very happy to have Best Boy Bruno. But these classic collection engines, pretty cool. I definitely want to get the other 3 of this first wave, Percy, Duck, Nia. Hope I can find them. I would love to get a couple more characters. Donald was in All Engines Go before it ended, so if we can get him in Douglas, I'll be very happy. I'm a big Scottish Twins fan. And I probably maybe wouldn't mind some of the CGI characters returning that I've never had as toys before. Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, mostly because I don't like this track system, Mattel might have got me, because these are beautiful looking versions of Thomas characters, and I haven't really been buying Thomas for a long time, and it would be fun to change up my collection habits to include this blue boy again. So yeah, now I've definitely been rambling on enough here, so thank you all for watching, and see you guys around. Thomas, stop looking at us like that, Thomas. Thomas? 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 No!